Right there? All right.
We're going from a snail's pace to a fast snail's pace.
A nudibranch, if you will.
Cucumber. No? Those are a bit faster.
Well, you know what? Without a shell, you'd go faster, right?
I saw the little dancing snail on one of the screens last night. Which one is that?
The Gaza Daedala.
Yeah, so it sort of like throws itself around in order to swim.
Yeah, it's like its escape response. So it takes its mantle and it kind of just flails it, breakdancing, if you will.
It's basically how I dance.
Yeah, that's how I dance too.
I actually saw that on the screen. I was like, what is flailing?
Yeah. We lovingly called it the flailing snail for a while. And they always seem to be on these like very steep rocky outcroppings, so they end up flailing downwards quite
Into
rapidly.
Stalked crinoid.
Yep.
This is Proisocrinus ruberimus.
Nice. So what speed are we currently moving along?
I increased our speed to 0.4 knots.
Cool. Yeah, so basically, yeah, we want to try to go as quick as we can up to, see if we can get up to that little cone.
Yeah.
And in terms of samples that we should keep our eyes out for, the main thing that might still be of interest is a yellow plexaurid. So if we see one of those, then we'd probably want to stop and zoom and take a snip.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah.
Keep on trucking along.
Keep on trucking.
Sounds great.
Maybe with some snap zooms, but yeah.
Well, Erin's great at zooms.
I do love zooming.
Zooming in multiple meanings.
Oh.
Zooming in and zooming up.
Yeah, that cone looks really cool.
I hope there's just like an octopus sitting at the top.
Oh, that would be the best.
Yeah.
The cone at waypoint 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're expecting an octopus at the top.
Oh.
No, I'm just
That
kidding.
is now what I will also be.
We're signing up, yeah.
We're just kidding.
Just putting it out there.
I mean, like, it's not impossible.
I need some singing.
I was going to say we need Bullock to sing a
Right?
nursery
You
rhyme.
need to sing your lullaby.
Well, one of my favorite entries in the Palau National Marine Sanctuary Kids Art Contest was this little octopus.
Oh my gosh, you shared that in your story and it's the cutest.
That was sitting, it's like sitting
ever.
inside of a shell, and it's kind of giving like queen energy.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you know?
Oh, yeah,
Did
that
you get
one
a
was
photo
really
of it?
good.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
That's what's at the top of.
It's so good.
Kids are so creative. I actually have judged a couple of kids' art contests, and just like the things they think of, oh my goodness.
Oh, that's so cute.
I don't think we can throw this up on the
You're
screen,
sounding way
but
better.
this is
Sound
amazing.
better?
Yeah.
All right.
I just loved it because there was a lot of maybe more realistic drawings, and this one I think is just fantastic. It's
It's
just
lovely.
It's just so
with
cute.
two little Palau flags.
Is that a little pearl next
It's yeah,
on a
because
pillow?
it's inside the shell.
I'm
Anyway.
sorry, that's so precious.
It's so precious. So that's what we're expecting at the top of this this cone. That's the energy we're channeling for our.
Where, can people see these online?
I don't know if they've uploaded them yet.
Okay.
I think, and I hope they will.
It was from a couple of years ago. No, it was from 2021.
Oh, you're talking. Okay, so we did have another
You had another one since then.
a deep sea art contest from October 2021, And I want to say that Quinlan did this jellyfish, but maybe I am mistaken. But I actually have that hanging in my office because this was the one
Wow,
that we were judging.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's fantastic, yeah.
so amazing.
I was looking at some of the art with Jeff, and he sees one of the fish drawings and goes, "Oh, Bartharites."
Delightful.
The excitement those fish guys have. It's so good.
I love it. Yeah, they always get so excited when I'm like, "Oh, do you have time to look at a fish for me?" There's always time for fish.
I mean, we've had some good fish the last.
We have
Last
had
couple
some really
dives.
good fish.
Is this a broken bamboo?
Yes, was probably one of those really long, wet bamboo corals, and then after the animal dies, it's hard for the skeleton to stay in one piece because of that hard calcium carbonate, and the proteinaceous part is so bendy, and so the proteinaceous part kind of ends up breaking.
I'm sorry, Erin, I think I interrupted you, or?
No, I don't think so. You're all good.
Oh, so May, can you see the high pack?
Yep, I'm
Should
looking
we
at it.
just skip waypoint 6 and like go straight to 7?
Yeah, I think basically let's go directly to waypoint 5, and then we could maybe like very slightly follow that little like
Go down this little...
yeah, like go up the steeper part, but we don't need to go all the way over to waypoint 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could even bump up our speed to half a knot.
Whoa. Let's not
Ooh.
get too crazy.
0.4
Really
to 0.5.
stepping on
I'm feeling fast.
Yeah. Zooming.
You're zooming. Flodek, how many interactions are you on now?
Interactions back
Yeah,
here.
how many have you done?
I haven't done any today.
Oh, really?
I think it's because we're on shift. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You're en route to break records.
Oh, we also got Sweden in the house. Yeah. I think somebody was confused about the onesies because they're asking, what is the onesie? Is it ocean related? I think that was a costume, maybe?
Yeah, it was my Halloween costume that I brought out. It's like a sleepwear that makes me look like a nudibranch.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's what you have on now.
That's what I'm wearing now.
I see.
It's because it's cold.
It's cold
It
in
is really
here,
cold
and
in
this
here.
is the warmest thing I have.
Ooh, a fish.
This is a little rat tail fish.
Quick snap zoom there.
Probably something like Kumba. It's very cute.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
What?
fish isn't going to cooperate.
All right, so one more thing that we should keep our eyes out for. Both are yellow. We're looking out for a Stauropathes and a Plexaurid.
All right.
Shout out to all of our scientists ashore. Steve Oskovich is putting in that request for the yellow Stauropathes. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
We've sailed with Steve many times. He's been out here with Nautilus for years. But also shout out to a lot of our scientists ashore who are regulars in the chat. I don't know how you manage to keep all hours. Asako Matsumoto, thank you for joining us from the
Yes.
Chiba Institute of Technology. Let's see, who else do we have here? Chris Kelly is here, Emily McLaughlin, and Jethro Redding. Fantastic. As well as Martina Gagliotti and Tina Molotsova. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, thank you.
Was that a pancake urchin we saw a little bit earlier?
Yeah, the purple one? Yeah, that was a Tropicosoma, a type of pancake urchin. The family is Echinothuridae.
So for the bamboo coral, up to where the polyps is, it's dead or are they still growing?
So the coral itself is still growing and alive, but yes, the tissue at the base there has receded. So what could end up happening is that
falling.
it breaks at the base and it will topple over and eventually the animal will die.
That's why you need a strong foundation.
Yep.
Ooh, we got a comment saying, greetings from the Harvard MCZ Invertebrate Zoology Department. It's exciting to watch the live collection of specimens that will eventually end up here. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for your work.
Hello, MCZ, and whoever it is, Adam or others, thank you so much for watching and for being such wonderful curators and custodians of these specimens, these
Yes.
biological specimens.
Yeah, so this is one of the libraries that after we finish processing the samples, they'll get it shipped off for storage.
Exactly, yeah. So we have been collaborating with 2 primary repositories for many years now. One dedicated to biological our specimens and storing and holding on to those, characterizing them, and distributing them and putting them essentially on loan, like a library book would be on loan
Oh,
to,
can we zoom that little star?
yeah, let's do it.
The color caught my eye.
Yeah, it's a nice shape.
Push in there.
It's quite small.
It is very
Yeah,
small.
very small.
Tiny.
Oh, I
There's
think it
another
might
little
be a tiny hymenaster,
Yeah, there.
Oh, what?
a slime star. Oh,
Ooh.
Oh.
it's so little.
It is really little. Nice.
Cool, thank you.
Awesome.
So how much
What?
slime did you say one of those would create if you brought it up?
A really unpleasant amount.
I don't, what is the limit between pleasant and unpleasant amount of slime?
Oh, well, like, I guess it depends on how much you like slime. But like, it would be a truly horrendous amount of slime.
From that little guy?
Yeah, well, maybe not from
Or
the little guy.
creature?
A full adult would
Okay.
definitely make the whole bio box full of really fun slime for you to clean
Wow.
out later.
Oh my goodness.
Should we test it, Sarah?
Has one of them been collected before here on OET? Maybe.
I think we've always avoided them because of the slime situation.
What was the...
It'd be like collecting a hagfish, you know?
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness. What was the scientific name again for the slime star?
Hymenaster.
So much faster than Google.
Well, thank you so much, Megan.
Does the slime come off it like as it's moving over like surfaces, or
I don't think so. I think it's just a
like a secretion?
Like a sweat thing.
There's a little fish. One
Snap
tiny,
zoom on the fish.
tiny rat tail.
Go for it. Alrighty.
Thank you.
Come on.
So in the chat, in the science chat, Steve is also saying when you extract DNA from the slime stars, it persists into like a jello-like texture,
Mm.
and then bamboo corals do it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bamboo isn't nearly as bad though, but it can be a little unpleasant.
Yeah, so on the other voyage, the one before this one, you guys saw a lot of Oreos. I'm curious why we haven't been coming across those.
We're a little bit deep,
Oh, it's too deep.
but they also like very gross, like steep terrain.
Huh.
We usually see them a little bit shallower, closer to 1,000 meters. We're getting there. But they also really enjoy steep terrain, which we're also getting towards as well. So we may see some.
Okay, because like it's something I remember by watching the live. It was like, oh, Oreo, and then you guys started just yeah. And I haven't seen one yet since we been doing this. So
What type of organism is an Oreo?
it's a fish.
A fish?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think Oreo is a short for.
It's short for Oreostomatidae, which is the
There it
family.
is, yeah.
The fish that we were seeing is called Neocytus.
I thought it was a cookie with a cream filled inside.
Yes, indeed.
So
Oh.
many food names.
There was one cruise I was on with Jake where we went around the room talking about what we wanted to eat, and he said Oreos. And then we all wanted Oreos, and I was convinced that there was some on board because there was a box we loaded that said Oreo on it.
It was a lie.
It
The
was a lie.
deception.
Yeah, apparently it was Oreo crumble, not actual cookies. Just like cookies all crushed up for like using in baking.
Baking.
Yeah.
See.
Oh my gosh. I have a question. How do you guys eat Oreos? How do you eat your Oreos?
Looks like 12 to 4 is turning into the night watch.
I just go for it one time, whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I drink the milk.
Yeah, I always have to take them apart, and then I eat the side with the cream first because I don't like the cream,
Oh.
and then save the cookie for last.
I do the opposite. I eat the single cookie first, and then I eat the one with the cream. But sometimes I scrape off a little bit of the cream.
Because it's too sweet. Or
Oh, I just to eat it
I'll just
separate.
eat it.
Well, you know, we've been having Oreos of various flavors, and so I need to know what the cream tastes like separate from the cookie.
Oh, yeah. I think
Yeah.
there was one that was like, last night, it was kind of brown looking.
Peanut butter?
I made the terrible mistake of buying, was it grape ice cream Oreos? Or
Grape ice
It was like
cream?
No,
purple,
it was blueberry ice
blueberry
cream.
ice cream, which I guess sounds a little better than grape.
Grape might have been better, actually.
Yeah, they were not very good.
Sometimes they take a little too much liberty with blueberry flavor.
Yeah. It was very disappointing because I didn't read the package before I bit into it. And I was like, this is not an Oreo.
That would be a shock.
not what you
packaging.
want at midnight.
I snagged a couple of those dark chocolate Oreos and opened them up, and I did put peanut butter in them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, that sounds good.
I do
That
like
sounds
putting
really
peanut
good.
butter on my Oreos.
Yeah.
I got Dan to put peanut butter on his Oreos the other night.
And he liked it.
Yeah. Well, he ate like 2 of them that way, so obviously it wasn't that bad the first time.
I think that's what I had with a cup of coffee before my last midnight shift last night.
Yeah, so this is our first midnight shift, even though we've been diving for a couple of days.
First
Yeah.
midnight shift in the van.
Yeah.
In the van.
I've
Yeah.
definitely
Oh, wow.
I've
I
been
like how
shifting
you-
this whole time.
We've all been wandering around doing things. Well, Megan's been seated at a desk.
I have to map the maps.
Yeah.
We've been in the wet lab pretty much
Oh.
Oh yeah, you guys
every
been very
night, all
busy.
night.
Yeah, I've been
Oh, especially with
interacting
all
too.
the water pumping too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that takes quite a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, generally I've been doing that sort of early in the morning until lunchtime.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. We're doing a large volume, so we've been able to do a setup where we have 6 cups running. I think it varies. I know on the last cruise I came, we had a 1 cup setup, and it was a breeze. I was very happy. Yeah, so with our setup, it's 6 cups at a time, so you're basically just running in between cups, making sure that they're filtering properly. And then sometimes we'll have pump issues, so while some of the filters are running, I'll have to quickly try and troubleshoot that. So just feels like putting out many small fires.
Could you see all of that?
Yeah, so I feel that I may be an expert in pump repair by the end of this voyage.
It's nice because we have a little bit of an eDNA set up on the ship already, so we've got some pumps to share. Hopefully expedite the process a little bit.
Yeah, no, the wet lab on board has been amazing, and I was just talking with Greta, our other Pickrick scientist, and we've been saying that this has been the most enjoyable eDNA cruise we've been on. We've been on a couple others on Palau's research vessel, surveillance vessels, so they're more like military ships. So definitely no wet lab setup, no comfortable beds. So it's been a really enjoyable experience, and of course May and the science team have been so helpful with everything, so thanks guys.
Awesome. Yeah, our wet lab may be small, but it's well set up.
Yeah, for the space, and very functional.
Yeah.
Have everything you need, and it's clearly labeled.
So, one more thing that we can keep our eyes out for was a request from another scientist ashore, Emily McLaughlin from the University of Alabama. She's interested in if we happen to see an Aplacophora. Yeah, if we happen to see any of those, she'd love a collection.
What about the solenogasteries?
Let's see what she says. Yeah.
Those as well.
There's a couple of groups that I'm not sure. I think she's open to either group.
Okay, any of the non-shelled mollusks?
Exactly.
That might be coral predators.
Yeah, so she said that yes, she says yes.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
Exactly. So yeah. So we've got 3 key samples that we're looking for. Oh,
Just a rock.
Yeah.
A lone
What
ranger.
to keep an eye out for is you'll usually see them at the base of corals because they are coral predators, or wrapped in a branch of a coral. Kind of looks like a little bit like a spring or a coiled noodle.
so Emily says that she tends to focus on solenogasteries, so that's great.
Okay, cool.
So we can look out for those. That's perfect.
I'll keep my eyes peeled. I have seen them. I didn't know we were looking to collect those, so I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Great. Yeah, thank you to all of our scientists ashore who are with us and sharing your interest. And we are here on the lookout for all sorts of different life and how that changes through the geologic setting across the seamount. We're currently moving up slope. If you're following along with our dive plan, we're between waypoint 4 and waypoint 5. We're trying our best to get up to this little cone before the end of our shift, but we only have a couple more hours of bottom time, so Look
Well,
at,
and the shallower we get, the longer we can stay on bottom.
yeah, exactly.
So, um, bottom time for the ROV works in the same way that bottom time for like a scuba diver does? Is that what we
Oh,
mean?
no,
Or
not exactly. Well, it depends what you're, in terms of measuring the time, like once you reach the bottom and then once you come up, like I guess we would both measure that similarly. But for a scuba diver, there are human-related limits and tank-related limits. But for the ROV, it's really just about how long we think we need to and would like to spend on a particular feature and how fast we fill up our bio boxes and sampling compartments.
that makes sense.
In C-Log, aren't there like two, it's like in water time and on bottom time or something? It's like
Yeah.
that's the two differentiating.
Yeah, so what we like to log in terms of like our own post-dive data products and dive logs is the time that the entire dive took. So once the vehicles are in the water and on the deck is one set of time, but then there's all this transit going from surface to seafloor, since we're primarily interested in studying the seafloor environments and not the midwater. So then we also often calculate our bottom time, which tells us how much time we've actually been surveying.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have we seen any cool midwater things though during ascent or descent?
Yeah, definitely.
I've seen lots of jellies and siphonophores, shrimps. When we get to nighttime recoveries or launches, we often see squid.
Squid parties.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love the light.
And they like to come and ink us.
Yeah, we have a dish in Palau called squid ink pasta.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen, there was, somehow I bring this up most cruises because it's one of my favorite midwater occurrences, but years ago, I think in 2017, we had a low light camera system mounted to the front of Hercules. It was a system built by Brennan Phillips, and so as we were doing our descent and ascent, we actually turned off the lights of the vehicle and used this camera system to image bioluminescent organisms and actually kind of use that blue water time for other kinds of scientific questions.
Wow.
And during one of those sessions, during one of those dives, we saw this, speaking of Halloween, this kind of ghost-like figure off in the distance.
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh.
very, very low lit conditions, right? So once it started coming closer and closer, we had no idea what it was. It was really unusually shaped. For me, it looked like a Halloween ghost, like the way that a kid would put a sheet over their head, you know, this
Yeah.
kind of shape. It
I
looked.
think I said it was an upside down garbage bag.
Oh, you said it was an upside down garbage bag?
Or
Yeah,
something like that.
that's another way of putting
Something
it.
behind.
Oh yeah.
You had a much cuter description.
But as it approached, it started to undulate with the kind of thrusting water around Hercules, and it turned out to be a Deep Staria enigmatica. And this is a big Medusa jelly. It's like a meter
Oh.
wide
It
and
was so cool.
has a geometric mesh kind of feeding structure around its gelatinous body, and has a benthic crustacean that lives inside of it, which is very
wow.
strange. And
Yeah, the amphipod that lives inside of it is a parasite, and it is blind.
Wow.
Oh.
That was my internship year, which
so cool.
the internship application is open.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Check out this
Speaking
rock.
of,
Yeah,
it's
this
good
is
rock.
a coral party.
This is really nice. Yeah.
oh, this is a big change from sand.
Yeah. This is great. This
Up in the water column, probably get some good
Yeah.
currents.
Yeah.
Exactly. Perched.
Do we see any of the
No yellow.
corals we were interested in?
There's a Stauropathes, but we're moving pretty fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're looking for a very yellow
Oh,
Stauropathes.
the yellow, not the brown.
Yeah.
Those are the corals that are bright yellow. I think we had seen some of them.
Yeah, so we're looking for two different types of yellow corals, a yellow Stauropathes and a yellow plexaurid. So if we see either of those, then
Wow.
Oh wow.
This
we'll
is
want
so
to
nice.
ideally try to slow down if possible and take a look.
So the long
That was a nice pirouette.
feather type ones are bathypathes?
It's good rock.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah,
great
it's just
rock.
sticking out.
this is great. This is the most abundant section that we've seen on our watch.
Yep.
Gotta keep the truck moving.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, lots of bathypathes and Stauropathes. Trissopathes as well.
Oh,
Ooh, shrimp.
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 So, Megan, if we do make it to waypoint 7, then we should be off bottom around like sometime after 2:30.
2:30 to get on the surface by 4.
For
Oh, what depth
What
was
depth?
waypoint 7
7?
is like 1,300 meters approximately. It's 1272.
Okay.
It's like what, an hour?
Yeah, about
like-
an hour.
Okay, so if we do make it there, then we will have until 3 local time. So another 2 hours and change. And if we don't make it there, it'll be a bit less because we'll be a little bit deeper.
Right. Yeah.
So
Keep on trucking.
Well, in the last 50 minutes, we've traveled about 500 meters. So
It's gonna be close.
it's going to be close, yeah.
cool.
We've got 1,000 meters to the top.
Okay.
So I think if we keep this pace, we'll make it.
All right. Well, it'll be a trade-off to make it to the top or to find some nice requested samples.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're getting on top of this sort of plateau area. It's kind of interesting.
yeah. Do we know what all of these little white, small corals we're seeing are?
They're primnoids. I think most of them are Calyptrophora wyvuli, and some of them are Narella. So the ones with the snake star in between that kind of have this dual planar morphology are the Calyptrophora wyvuli, and the ones that are just a single plane are the Narella.
Nice.
Are these coral rubble coming up, or?
This
Yeah,
look-
it looks like it. There's probably a bunch
Like
of
this here.
Yeah.
That looks definitely like coral rubble.
So we should expect more coral on top? Or are they-
possibly.
Possibly.
So sponge, crinoid,
There's Parantopathes, the black coral, Chrysogorgia.
there's a chrysogorgia there with a squat lobster. Steve was after one of those, but we got one yesterday, so
Yeah.
I think we're good. There's another one.
You can pretty much pick any Chrysogorgia and you get one of those squat lobsters.
Yeah, he's particularly interested in studying the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little cucumber floating in front of Atalanta.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
Oh, that's a cool sponge. Oh, there's a huge bamboo coral.
Wow.
Woo. Backing up, backing up,
Uh-oh.
backing up, backing up.
Wow, that's branching off pretty.
This is quite the feature.
It is a view. It's like huge pinnacle.
Yeah.
Atalanta's zoomed in.
Yeah, Atlanta looks.
Can you come wide just to see it?
Yeah, what this looks like.
Okay.
It's like a tall pinnacle. There's a few different species of bathypathes, Calyptrophora, Trissopathes,
Yeah.
Parantopathes.
You're gonna,
Well, that one looks like a Liliopathes, but it could be a Stauropathes. It's got a hole in it. Yeah, I think it's a Stauropathes with a hole in it.
Is the hole likely from predation?
I think the tissue receded from that area. I'm not sure why. But probably not from predation.
yes.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again? Observation is better, so it's tagged. Yeah, thank you. Oh,
All right.
Are we gonna fall off the world?
Seems like there's another one though. Another wall. Gotta get there before Atalanta does.
Yeah. Should I do a slower or a shorter move just in case? Or keep going with the 100-meter moves?
That was, yeah, you could do, I don't know. That's, it's fine.
Okay.
Staying pretty well out ahead. So.
Yeah, you've been having good pacing.
Shrimp? Oh no, that's not a shrimp.
Bridge, Nav.
Yeah, little fish.
Yep, Halosaur.
Hylosaur. Is our Norbit on? Is the Norbit on?
Orbit is on.
Okay. Huh. Is that on the front or the back?
It's on the
On the front,
front of
right
the
where the
vehicle.
lights are. You can
I see.
actually see it in the upper cam.
Huh.
It's
Okay.
this curved thing right on the left.
Oh.
And it's scanning downwards in a
Uh,
fan-like shape, similar to how the ship
I see.
multi-beams, but just at a higher frequency and a finer resolution.
Uh, cool. It's usually always on, right?
We've not usually.
Oh,
We usually do like targeted surveys with it.
I see.
But on this cruise, we've been experimenting with leaving it on during dives and using it to find features.
Uh-huh.
It can see further than we can with the cameras and the lights.
Yeah.
So it's a useful tool for that. It's been helpful. I've used it a couple times on this watch just to, while we were going over mud, just to find rocks off to the
Huh.
left or right while we're moving along.
Oh, I definitely found an interesting spot. Lots of cool stuff.
Yeah. This little kind of ledge here at waypoint 5 was a nice choice.
Mm-hmm. I kind of wish we got here earlier.
Yeah, I think maybe what we could do is just sort of looking at HiPAC, just following that same kind of feature.
Oh, this little ridge down
Yes,
here.
instead of going towards the east.
Yeah, instead
Yeah.
of jumping off.
Yeah.
We
so
could just go straight south. Oh. Okay, mean to zoom.
No worries.
Just go straight to the point, huh?
Yeah, so
Definitely drops down a bit.
we could do this.
Could we do just a little bit to the west so we follow that feature?
Oh, so like
Like,
go here?
but yeah, but then not all the way and kind of like just for like to there and
Yeah,
then we
to
can.
here and then
Exactly.
from here to there.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that.
Okay.
Just seems like this kind of,
So I'll keep following that 190 for a while, and then we can veer off.
yeah, if it stops getting as interesting, or if we get up a little bit more, then we'll veer off.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Or 190.
Coming down.
Cool.
So Blowback, is there anybody watching from Palau?
Is there anybody watching from Palau? Let me check real quick.
Shouldn't they be sleeping?
That's why I'm curious to see.
Yep, I think everybody is in Palau is sleeping except us.
There you go.
But we got people from Australia, Indonesia, Mexico, New Zealand, Portugal, Russian Federation, Saudi Arabia, Canada and Norway, United Kingdom, Germany, and the States.
I'm not sure I'd be up at 1 a.m. to
Everybody got to work.
Yeah.
Welcome to all viewers. Thank you for joining us. We are currently 1,512 meters on the bottom of the sea, working our way up to this seamount. Hopefully, we have been set back a little bit because of the current from earlier shift, so we are trying to book it and try to spend some time over there. But really nice area. So, yep,
Zoom in and zoom in.
yep. Zoom in and zoom in.
Though there haven't been that many Zooms, unfortunately.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Thanks, Megan. I'm still, like, shocked that you watch Nautilus Live while you're annotating. I can't get over that. I was thinking about it earlier when I was in the gym.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, whoa, she does this, and I can't even, like, do anything if I'm watching it. And
I
you're
watch Nautilus
annotating.
and Nautilus Live. Nautilus Past and Nautilus Live.
Yes.
Past and present Nautilus.
So Megan, do you only annotate videos from Nautilus, or are there a couple other ships that you get video from as well?
Yeah, there's a couple other ships that I've worked with as well. So we get most of our funding from NOAA OER, and so we primarily annotate the video from the Deep Discoverer ROV and the Okeanos Explorer. But this year, they are not diving their ROV, and so we've been going to the Nautilus videos that are of high priority for annotation, and that includes things within the Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument and areas around Hawaii. And I've also annotated video from Sebastian, the Falcor's ROV, and from Lu'ukai, the University of Hawaii's ROV.
Oh, cool.
Do they still, was that the Hurl? Or
The Hawaii Undersea Research Laboratory operated the Pisces 4 and the Pisces 5 submersibles.
Go for Zoom.
As well as the RCV 150 ROV. And I have annotated videos from those vehicles as well. Though Hurl is no longer an active entity, I do maintain the website as the Hurl Archive, which includes access to video, imagery, and other associated data from 30 years of dives that they have done.
Oh, wow.
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 You are solely responsible for the website?
Yeah, I made it.
Oh, wow.
I started with what is HTML, and I went from that. It was like, hey, Google,
It's
how
amazing
website
what
coding?
you can learn from YouTube and Google.
Yeah. And I taught myself how to write a website from scratch, and I wrote a small program that runs the animal guide
Wow.
Oh, awesome.
on that
A lot of
website.
talent. A lot of talent.
Yeah, my first coding experience was from MySpace.
Yeah.
I remember that. I made it rain on my profile.
Yeah.
Your top friends.
Yeah, if you go
Top
to
8.
the Deep Sea Animal Research Center website, it rains deep sea animals.
Amazing.
Actually, they kind of swim up from the bottom
Dark?
of the page. Yeah, the dark website. You have one of those stickers, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
and
on
it was
the backs-
also drawn by Megan.
Wow.
There's nothing she can't do.
I know.
Yeah, so there's a QR code on the back.
Yeah, and it'll take you to the website, and when you go, the little deep sea animals will float up.
Oh my gosh.
I was having a little too much fun. I found this CSS little snippet that makes bubbles float, and I was like, well, bubbles don't make sense in the deep sea. It should be animals. So I went and photoshopped some animals to float up instead.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, so we were sitting in the lounge with Jeff, watching the live feed, as he does, commenting on the fishes. And then we saw his sticker on his laptop, and it was, I think it was a rat tail.
Huh.
And then he's like, oh yeah, I have some more stickers. So he like busted out a bunch of stickers. I don't know if there's any left in the lounge, hopefully. And they had different designs. Oh, wow. I just opened up the website. This is amazing.
Isn't that fun? I had
Yeah.
fun with it.
Yeah. And then the one I got is a dragonfish. And then Megan said she actually drew it on with a mouse.
Yeah,
which is incredible.
I don't have an iPad or a trackpad.
I know what we need to get you for Christmas.
An iPad?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to learn how to use Procreate.
Oh, it's awesome.
Is it?
I've heard
Yeah.
it's super cool.
I would love to see what you can do with Procreate if this is what you're doing with the mouse, but yeah, I love it. I see a Dumbo octopus, rat tail.
Very cool.
Oh, I also designed some shirts for the Lu'ukai ROV, and I do all the logos for the University of Hawaii Marine Center.
Is there anything you don't do, Megan?
Apparently video engine? No, actually.
I was going to say, don't even, because
Yeah.
I know you probably do it.
No, I definitely, I've done some video engineering.
Megan also flies the ROVs very well.
I was going to say she's a pilot too, isn't she? I'd love to see your resume.
These are
Yeah,
Your
it keeps
skills is just like
expanding.
6 pages long.
Oh, that reminds me, I need to update that. Add some more skills on there.
What skills are you adding?
I don't know. I have to remember what I put on there in first place. But add some more cruises. I like to keep a list of what I do on each cruise.
Do you have a website?
No, I don't have a personal website.
Yeah.
I definitely would check out all of your logos and designs if you did have one.
Yeah.
And a link to all the websites
Buy,
that you've
buy
built.
stickers. Buy stickers off your website.
Oh yeah, if you ever
Can we
come
do a
to
quick
the
zoom on this?
Yep.
University of Hawaii Marine Center, we have all the stickers of all the logos.
this is a really interesting.
there.
But if you go to
Right.
the Marine Center website and click around, you'll see pretty much all the ones that I've made. So I have the logo for, well, it's on my cup, the Lu'ukai one. And there's one for the machine shop, and there's one for the Kaunana, our small offshore vessel.
Is this sediment?
This is
Yeah,
carbonate, right?
not at this depth. No.
Oh.
Oh,
little
an
fuzzy.
urchin.
Is it more of like a
I think-
mudstone?
I'm trying to tell if this is, yeah, I think it's a siliciclastic kind of sedimentary formation that's kind of slumping, and then after that's happened, it's starting to get this manganese oxide crust, I believe. That's what we're seeing. I wonder how, I guess we're moving too fast to poke it. I don't think I want to sample, I just kind of want to know how solid it is.
We have time to poke it. I can poke it.
Can
Do
we,
you want me to zoom out?
can we poke it?
Yeah, zoom in.
Okay.
It looks quite solid, but I'm just kind of curious. I feel like we can see the this sort of boundary right here where it's like
I like our science. Let's poke it.
That's a very geologist way of doing things.
to poke it. Well, the geology in this area is kind of puzzling.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to zoom in a little bit?
It's
Oh.
kind of soft.
Yeah, can we zoom?
Push in.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Just
Yep.
comes right off.
So this looks exactly like what we were seeing, but with we have a sample of something similar, but with a much thicker manganese oxide crust. Okay, that's great. We don't need to do
So
any
on
more.
Oh,
the
okay.
Mohs scale, how soft is
Totally
it?
wasn't writing my name or anything.
So
Jake's
this
like,
over
Megan
time
can do
will
it with
get
a
harder.
mouse, I can do it with an ROV.
Challenge accepted.
Megan's not the only impressive one.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, we can keep moving. We don't need
I
to
collected a rock
sample.
twice. That was
Okay.
actually really fun. That was a great day.
Poking complete.
Good job, team.
Thanks, Jake.
Oh, you
Thank
can
you.
see where we landed too.
So would this be the beginning sort of those milk ducts?
Yeah, so what Elsa is referring to is we collected this rock yesterday that was very heavy and at the base of the seamount and had a very thick black crust, a manganese oxide crust with this botryoidal texture, which is characteristic of manganese oxides. But we really thought it was basalt, since these are seamounts. They're volcanically originated, but the inside was full of basically what we were just looking at, this kind of crumbly, semi-consolidated sediment. So this is essentially an area where that kind of sedimentary rock would first be forming, and it's just solid enough to start getting this manganese oxide crust forming on top of it. So it's kind of interesting to see different stages of this geologic, these geologic formations forming. So definitely this seamount is volcanically originated, but getting down to that original basaltic material has been tricky to find at the depths we're diving at. We have collected some basalts on the previous
Is that a
expedition in the
Rock.
north, but
It's a
most
rock.
of what we've collected around
Loose
here is
volcanic
just
rock.
a lot of this thick crust.
So would you think that this seamount is very old?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was looking a bit into the literature about this area to try to see the rate of ferromanganese crust formation. I mean, typically on average it's like 5 to 7 millimeters per million year, but there are areas where it can be much faster, and so it's kind of hard to say about this area. There's not a lot of work that's been done on that, so given that we're seeing crusts that are several centimeters thick, we know that atop sedimentary rock material, we know that this is very old, to say the least. But yeah, volcanic activity in general ceased 20 million years ago in this region, so we know that, but dating each of these individual seamounts, and a single seamount can also have several eruptive phases, so there can be different lava flows from different periods. They can turn on and off. That's something that we're interested in doing, but to do that we need to collect volcanic rocks. So there are other ways that we can kind of get some general ideas of how old these places are, which could also relate to the growth rate of these crusts. So it's still useful and interesting to see kind of the geologic setting that is the habitat for all of the life around here.
That's very cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say, kind of brings me back to these stories of, do you know the story of Mulwadang Ayano?
Is that from Kayan?
Yeah.
Which story?
So a story, Mulwadang Ayano, it's a story from our island, which is, just to kind of summarize it, uh, the people had to leave the island because something was killing, and they left this one old lady who they kept saying, "We don't have space. Go to the next boat." It felt like a Titanic kind of thing. Go to the next boat. Go to the next boat, and then eventually she was left on the island. But she couldn't cook anything because this creature was eating people. But anyways, the story is it's kind of like getting me to think maybe this is like a volcano story because of the hot because they had to warm up the rocks and kind of throw it in the mouth of this monster. Yeah, and there's a part of the story where they say a part of the intestine floated to the area, and they asked if it was, are you the what is Talbul?
Dalbogul?
Talbul.
Oh, Dalbogul?
Yeah. I think it's like some part of the stomach,
Yeah.
and it would open up, right? And I'm thinking like volcanic rocks do float when it first sometimes. Remember? Right, you were telling us that, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like making me think like maybe this is story as a volcanic story of the time when it was, yeah, there was volcanoes and
Yeah. Yeah. It really the floating thing was kind of a special occasion. But yeah, that's really
but it
interesting.
usually happens right after the eruption, kind of.
Well, not exactly. So it really depends. I was mentioning earlier in the cruise to a few people about lava balloons, which is an unusual eruptive product, and there's a lot of gas in a lot of volatiles in the magma. So really gas-rich magmas will essentially form, instead of forming pillow lavas or sheet flows or kind of your typical seafloor volcanic morphologies, it'll form this lava balloon, which is really exactly as it sounds. And there's been 5 known occurrences globally, one of which I worked on for part of my graduate studies, and really interesting to see what we normally think of as very heavy, dense basalt rock rise up to the sea surface, float, degas, and drop back down. But there are some other kinds of eruptive products that can float, but most seafloor volcanoes have really heavy rocks that don't float.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I was thinking about it, and
But it's possible. It could have been.
because how else would you describe that in like trying to keep that? Because you know how Palauans, our stories are orally passed on from generations. So, yeah, I don't know.
It could be. It could be possible. Yeah,
Could have
definitely.
been a story about the, yeah.
That's really cool.
It's a really cool story, and yeah, I would trust the wisdom that's been passed down from this region.
I think we just, because everything's all oral, so I think we need to come and like kind of break it down to see what were they talking about, you know what I mean? Maybe these creatures did exist, but because it's interesting because there's a place in Irai that the people of Kayang fled to during that time.
Hmm.
So there's evidence that this probably did happen, right? But was it really a monster, maybe? Or did they run away from a volcano that was happening?
Hmm.
What
So,
area in Irai?
Oh man, it's in the tip of my tongue, but I know we had a field trip to it one time with the students and the ladies and get the elders there were talking. The elders there have the same names of the chiefs in Palau, but it's reversed. So there's sort of the Orange Peace, but in Irai, Spiss became the number one Ruvak and Rodor became number two
Natgib?
because Natgib, yeah, no, not
Ah,
yeah, Natgib, I think.
Natgib, Murulwa, wala.
It's all starting to sound all the same, but yeah, because Rodor told Spiss, "You go ahead first." When they went in, Spiss they assumed that he was the number one, so they gave him the number one title.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so I've actually never heard that story before, and the place he's talking about, Irai, is where I'm from.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so there's a lot of different there's even regional differences between a lot of the culture and language and the oral history, so yeah, really interesting.
Cool stuff.
When do your elders tell you these stories? Is it like bedtime, or is it like when are they told?
I think I knew the story back in school. I don't know if there was the remote water book that
Yeah,
we kind of
Ra'wad.
yeah the water. But yeah, I actually don't really know where I first heard that story. It's just been kind of knew it.
Yeah, yeah. No, Palawan is very much like a community-based society.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of sort of avenues where people of a lot of different generations get together. So that can be for
Okay.
funerals, for birth ceremonies, for um, other sort of customary obligations. We call them customs, but it's just like different.
Shugang.
Well, it's called shurang, but it's different events that you go to, and generally a lot of different generations, and your extended family is there, and everyone all just gets together and talks about various different things. So that might be a place where people can tell those stories. Yeah. Yeah, very common to just like sit down with a bunch of people, chew betel nut or eat. A lot of it is around eating, and then just talk to each other, tell stories, talk about things like that.
That's really
Wonderful.
cool. Yeah.
Thank you both for sharing. I really love this kind of feeling of a story that you've always known.
Yeah.
I think that's really beautiful. Like, not necessarily remembering a discrete moment of being told, but having some knowledge that just kind of makes its way into you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it would be really cool to sort of go back through maybe these different stories that aren't as well known and see if they sort of correlate to natural phenomena that we don't have any written record of from that time.
Yeah,
And see if there's any relation.
I heard Menzel talking about Maduriptal. I
Yeah.
think at their watch one time,
Mm.
and I feel like that story is a story of the deluge when we flooded. Because, yeah, I don't know. A flood did happen sometime in the past, I think. Because every story, I mean, every culture has a story of a flood, whether, you know, it's Noah's Ark or Maduriptal. There's a point in time where a flood happened, and I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, so the story that he's talking about is called Maduriptal. So it is from a village in Palau called Niwal. So there was a older woman who lived there, and she was single, and she was not able to do any more fishing to feed herself. So her son, who was also a demigod, as they tend to be in these stories, planted a breadfruit tree. So Madhu is breadfruit in her yard, and she is able, when you cut off one of the branches, the ocean flows through the branch with fish and everything that you need to feed yourself. So she would go and fill up her basket with fish, but only enough for herself to eat. And then the villagers saw her doing this, and
Became envious.
they became envious, and they one day just stormed her house and cut down the tree, sort of
Wow.
saying that if we can't have this, you can have this, you know. So what happened is that the ocean started flooding out of the tree stump and flooded the village, and it sunk beneath the ocean. Yeah, and that story is also kind of told as an allegory for overconsumption and resource use, to be conservative and only take what you need, or else it will have consequences, you know. So that spirit of conservationism is sort of embedded in Palauan values. And even when you speak to a lot of elder Palauans who grew up in a more subsistence-based society, they really talk about how when you're fishing or farming, you really only need to take the amount you need to feed yourself in order to survive. Greedy. Yeah, don't get greedy. And it's sort of interesting because it's coming up against a lot of more westernized ideas. So that has led to some issues in terms of how we're managing our natural resources today, but we do try and continue that spirit of conservationism and trying to preserve what we have. Just because we're such a small island, trying to make sure that we can continue to have what we have to sustain our future generations.
Well, it seems like you've had a lot of success because your environments and oceans seem to be very well stewarded and rich with life. So I think that knowledge that you're sharing seems to be passed on quite well.
Yeah. Just understanding what we have, taking only what you need, and you know that culture of caring for your community too.
Yeah, it's definitely something that the West should learn from.
I don't know if it's, and you know, I don't mean to say Western in sort of like a way that it's negative, and I think it's not necessarily Westernized, but also sort of just this idea of overconsumption, which is more of a capitalist idea.
Definitely.
Yeah, so just interesting as we navigate the world in our different cultures, and I think there are people all over the world who have the same, you know, take only what you need mindset.
Definitely. On the previous expedition, we were having some nice conversations about that as well with Jesus, the god of the sea, or the spirit of the sea. And Nani was talking about that, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Alani is from the same island that Lodak is from.
Yeah.
From Kayan.
Yeah, Kayan. So that's
Kayan,
the
in the
northernmost atoll in Palau. State.
Yeah, get it right. State.
Oh.
We are a state.
I apologize.
We're like a dime. We're small, but we're worth a lot because we
Yes.
have a big sea area. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really beautiful there. And yeah, they have a lot of fish. You can just snorkel right off of the dock, and there's plenty of things in the lagoon. And then when you go out on the ocean side, there's also a lot of fish as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are just like rocks now, right?
Yeah.
So we've changed, like, the bottom has changed at least 3 or 4 times. We went from a sand to those, what did we see earlier?
Yeah, this,
The one we poked at.
yeah, the sedimentary
Yeah.
kind of
That's
siliclastic
had big rocks,
material.
and now
Yeah.
this scattered. Is this scattered, kinda? No?
Yeah, this is kind of rubbly boulders, and all of it is thickly encrusted with manganese oxide. And just looking at the bathymetry, probably a lot of this kind of tumbled down the steeper slope above and settled on this little sort of flatter feature that's jutting out. We're seeing some more kind of flatter, rocky substrate off on the starboard side coming up. But yeah, I think, are we still going at a heading of 190, Megan?
I was gonna change heading after this move. If you think
Perfect.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So let's just head to waypoint
top
7.
always point 7. Then we'll change to 165.
Awesome. Sounds good. Making good headway here.
Yeah, it looks like we've got about 550 meters to the top.
Great.
So I think we're gonna easily make it to where
Yeah.
we want to be. We'll
Totally.
have some time to check it out.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hopefully we see a couple of those species of interest. Also, another request we had a little bit earlier is if we do see another tripod fish, that if we could get some nice zooms on the pectoral fin base and the side of the body.
I
Sure
think
thing.
that's a great idea.
Awesome.
Yeah, more zooms.
More zooms.
Awesome, yeah. So,
Bridge now.
this is such an interesting feature.
It's a little rat
Ooh.
tail fish.
Nice.
I thought it looked kind of pink, but
Can we
maybe
do
it's
a
just the...
quick zoom?
Yep, push in there.
Yeah, just the light. They're actually gray.
Nice.
Okay. Come on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Zoom in and zoom in.
Zoom in and zoom in. I want a shirt that says that.
Oh, wow. Very susical. Up.
Yes.
Nice. It's a really long whip coral.
Is the pink one a Paragorgia / hemicorallium?
Yeah, it's a hemicorallium.
Yeah.
Though now the Paragorgias are in the Corallidae, so you could just go Corallidae and get your whole...
For the whole...
Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah, the Paragorgias used to have their own family, but they've been promoted into the Corallidae.
I don't know if you know, but why do they sort of sometimes change the
taxonomy?
Yeah.
Well, recently there's just been a lot of genetic work done on these animals, and we've looked at how similar they are genetically, and it's been showing us, you know, how some animals are actually more related to one another than we previously thought. It would make sense to group them that way. Previously to genetic testing, we were doing everything morphologically, looking at, you know, characteristics of the animal. So for corals, like the Paragorgia and the hemicorallium, we'd look at the sclerites, these little hard pieces in the tissue, the morphology of the animal overall, and make a classification based on that. And when you're looking at something visually, it can vary across people of what they think is more similar or more different. And so you might have some, amongst taxonomists ourselves, is you have the lumpers and the splitters. You have people who want to lump things that look the same together, and you have other people who want to split things into their own categories because they are unique. And so you're kind of playing that balance between that lumping and the splitting with genetic testing. It kind of resolves itself a little bit with how similar these things are to one another, and they almost kind of group themselves in that way. And we kind of been splitting the difference recently with taxonomy of how to organize the animals now that we're not exclusively using physical characteristics.
So we still use morphology to a point, but then genetics is more.
Well, you know, when we're looking at imagery like we are right now, there's no way to know for sure what the genetics of a specific animal is. So we do rely a lot on what the animal looks like.
Right.
But then we also have the eDNA that we've been slowly collecting, and that can also help us see which animals are in the area, and that can confirm our visual identifications.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of complementary research methods.
Yeah.
Would you consider, are you a taxonomist?
I don't know if I would consider myself per se a taxonomist per se, since I'm not actively writing papers about taxonomy and describing species. But I have to have a very strong working knowledge of taxonomy to do what I do as a video annotator. And I'm always asking for help from taxonomists all around the world to identify these animals, and experts in the field who have a lot of knowledge about specific groups. And that's where I've been gaining all my knowledge about these animals is from these experts.
Yeah, you're very knowledgeable. I would say you have a very strong working knowledge of taxonomy. So thank you.
Thanks. It wasn't always that way. I've been working many years to learn all of this. I've been doing this for over 10 years now.
Awesome.
Would you say that you're a taxonomy enthusiast?
I do like taxonomy, yeah. And if the opportunity were to arise where I could write a taxonomy paper, I probably would.
What's your education background, Megan, to get the role that you have?
I have a master's in marine science.
Okay.
You may have just heard a new voice in the room. We have a 12 to 4 visitor. Want to introduce yourself?
Ali, I'm Amanda Dedicatoria. I'm just subbing in for Blowdock as he completes a ship to shore. I'm from the 8 to 12 watch. Hello, and thank you so much for the ride.
Hello.
Welcome.
Half a day.
Welcome to arguably
Half a day.
the most fun
The
watch.
best.
Midnight to 4 a.m.
Yeah, all of you are so sweet, so I always love visiting all of you folks. How's the night treating you?
Excellent.
Excellent.
I'm eating a lot of candy.
We're zooming along.
We're
Zoom in
we're
and
zooming
zoom
and
in.
zooming. We're making headway up slope. We're trying to reach our final waypoint at this little cone on the side of the seamount. Hoping that there is an octopus waiting for us at the top.
In a clamshell throne.
I've
Oh,
been
wow.
promised this. So.
Hopefully several.
Well, let's not be too greedy.
Yeah, we're not going to be greedy. We're going to be really happy with whatever is there, and we're going to...
Just two, so one doesn't have to be alone.
Oh, I like that.
Exactly. We're also looking out for some yellow corals, a plexaurid and a staropathes, and an aplacophora, potentially, and potentially some zooms on some tripod fishes. It's kind of what our eyes are open for, and otherwise just general characterization of the features and communities.
That's amazing. The landscape is so beautiful.
Yeah,
It's changed a lot throughout our shift already.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, what were some of the transitions?
Well, we've been going over some really steep kind of cliffy features, and then into some completely sediment, soft sediment
Coming down.
bottom to some rubble fields like this. We saw this one little area where there was kind of a slumpy siliclastic sedimentary formation with a very light manganese oxide crust, and then I was very excited to poke it, and Jake happily poked it, and it was it was soft. So yeah, so it's really neat to see this volcanic feature and all of the sedimentary processes happening on it, as well as this ferromanganese crust growing. So a lot of interesting geology, and I think we picked a nice path up the seamount to see all these different features. So during the very quick dive planning session, after we mapped a feature, there's a track line that has to be decided, and often those who were interested in looking at areas where there are features in the current.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, go for zoom. So we try to find nice
Go for a zoom.
bathymetric features to follow up that will have interesting communities and geology.
Thank you so much for that insight.
Like that little amphipod.
Little amphipod,
It's on a mission.
very, very brightly colored.
What's it trying to do?
It's just
Just-
chilling.
See
Living
the side.
life.
It lives there.
Okay, come back wide.
Yep.
So those are tiny, tiny polyps.
Yeah, that's a black coral. So it has very small polyps. Not all black corals have small polyps, but that one does. So black corals are hexacorals, and a lot of the other corals that we've been seeing are octocorals. The main way to tell the difference is by looking at the polyps. Octocorals have 8 tentacles on each polyp that are pinnate, which means they have like little feathery projections all along the sides of the tentacles of the polyp. Whereas the black corals have 6 tentacles on their polyps, but black corals in particular have 2 tentacles that are much larger than the other 4. And so it looks like there's only 2 tentacles per polyp, but there really is 6. And they're smooth. They don't have those pinnate projections.
Very cool.
Nice.
Got 400 meters to go.
Oh yeah, I got tons of time.
We're gonna make it.
What time do we have to head up?
If we make it to the top, we leave bottom at 3.
Nice.
Have any plates?
Do we do any more Niskins?
We'll do a Niskin at 1,000 meters, so after we leave bottom.
Yep. Got 4 more Niskins.
Yeah, we were at bottom a bit deeper, so we don't have an extra one for biodiversity, I think.
Yeah. So just the 4 standard ones.
Yeah. However, I think if we do, I feel like if there's something very out of the ordinary, then
Yeah.
we can
Definitely. Sacrifice one of those depths.
Yeah,
Maybe
yes.
maybe the shallowest one.
Yeah.
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 That's what we did in the past.
Squat lobster?
Yep.
Oh, there's one on the little stalk as well.
Yeah, there's a sternostylus on that Bathopathes. We have a couple Parantopathes, hemicorallium, with a squat lobster on it, and a Walteria sponge. And up higher, we've got some primnoid corals, a Trissopathes, a Chrysogorgia, which also has a squat lobster. More hemicorallium. There's an Aristeid shrimp.
I'm just getting yanked.
Yep. Just
It's all right.
tugging it around.
Long for the ride.
Yeah, well, kind of getting lost in the cabbage over there.
Need the cabbage.
Mm-hmm. That's what Gabby tells me. If you go too far up there, then you get into the rhubarb.
Huh. Downhill.
Yeah, we've got this like little slumpy area, but then we'll start heading back up. I think we might make the record of longest distance covered per watch.
All right.
Would that be a very enthusiastic nudie prank sticker to commemorate that sort of moment?
I'm gonna give you a reset.
Okay.
I'm excited for this little cone. I think
We
it's gonna
are.
it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah. Excitement is high.
Cone.
Got a nice little anthomastus, some Norella. Lots of black corals. I think that was one of my favorite things that I saw when I went diving was the black corals.
Here in Palau?
Yeah, here in Palau.
Oh, so they do have shallow water.
Yeah, so black corals can grow shallow as well as they're some of the deepest living corals. Different species, of course, but yeah, that group has a wide range of depths that they live at.
Oh, amazing.
When we went snorkeling, we went to an area that was relatively shaded and had some really great current flow. And there was a really big black coral there. I was really surprised to see one so shallow. Black corals have a hard time competing with other coral in shallow water. So you usually only see them down deeper where it's more shaded because they excel at living in areas that doesn't get as much sunlight. They don't necessarily need the zooxanthellae or symbodinium to make food for them. So if they lose that relationship, they can always uptake them later, which is really sort of an interesting thing that those corals can do. But as you can see, the corals down here don't have any light, so they don't have that symbiotic relationship. And they get all of their food from filter feeding from the water.
So the shallow water one can switch between either getting food from the zooxanthellae or from filter feeding or both?
I'm not sure about all species, but some of the mesophotic living ones, the ones that live a little bit deeper, at like 90 meters, they can. There was a paper I was reading that said that they could actually uptake new cymbidium if they lost it, which I thought was really interesting.
That is super interesting.
I wonder how they do it. Are they just like, hello, we have a room for you. If you can give us food.
Something like that.
Definitely. So Amanda,
Yes?
since you're here visiting us,
Mhm.
what has been sort of a really cool find or zoom from your guys' shift in the 8 to 12?
The 8 to 12. Well, I would say that we were dealing with some interesting behaviors from the currents, and to see the sort of prowess and skill that the ROV pilots did just to make sure that the vehicles were safe was very amazing. Dan our navigator was clad in several layers of clothing to fight against the cold. So he was dealing with, he looked like a sock, I told him. And
So expect to be roasted on our watch.
and so, well, I told him that I was lightly toasting him, lovingly toasting him to a nice golden brown like a marshmallow.
Nice.
But not roasting. So, and so he was wearing 2 sweatshirts, dealing with a lack of feeling in his fingers as he was trying to keep everything under control.
Oh my goodness.
Wonderfully cool-headed, that one. He's a drummer, and his album is dropping soon from his band.
Is that true?
Oh, yes, he's a rock star.
Yeah, I actually heard his band live.
Wait, Dan?
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
No way.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it was
So many multi-talented
Wait, which
people.
Dan?
Elsa, we were on the monkey deck a few days ago
Not
listening to
our
a song.
pilot,
Navigator.
Oh.
We were there for the premiere.
Someone's imagining ROV pilot Dan.
Yeah.
He's a rock star.
Oh, Dan Torriello.
Yeah,
Yes.
I definitely was imagining.
yeah, there's a few